out his crown, take away his throne and gown. Could he be the rebel or the Russian Tsar? Judge each creature of our race by each feature in his face. And look at him, I rest my case. Well, there you are.
There you are.
And it matters not to me what part of town you come from. We but cheer, you've made it here at home.
Hey, hey, hurrah!
Here within this garish parish called the Music Hall.
There you are. How very glad we are that there you are. It isn't who you are, but where you are. Yes, there you are. And grateful are we to see how fine and fair you are. There you are.
Angela, my dear, are you out there?
Royal Locksmith.
Ah, yes. And who's that with you then?
I am standing with a gent who seems singularly bent on attaching both his hands to both my knees.
Ah!
I could see the lamp of a most engaging chap, and I let him do exactly as I...
Clyde!
Down in front of that is the latchkey. Surely she must know that spells will do.
Victor!
And these lovely people will come home.
And has ready to show me in my
There you are. How distant, gay and debonair you are. Just like the best of life, just where you are. Yes, there you are. And grateful we all should be full well aware we are. So lightning quick, let's all kick up a fuss. We can't but pray our trust is blind in us. So drink your fill and just unwind in us. A warmly wicked frame of mind in us. You'll find in us. We want you and not our loss. Be careful where you've been. And not to jump and care how you got in. We must care that
on this most thrilling of evenings here at the Music Hall Royale, yes. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure of presenting for your approval the premiere performance of The Mystery
of Edwin Drood.
This being a musicale with dramatic interludes. Now, as you are all no doubt already aware, our very own Mr. Charles Dickens was full halfway through the creation of the greatest mystery novel of our time, when he committed the one ungenerous deed of his noble career. He died, but leaving behind not the slightest hint as to what he had in store for this bizarre yet uncompleted puzzle, the mystery of Edwin Drood. Tonight, however, ladies and gentlemen, when we reach that point in our program, beyond which Mr. Charles Dickens wrote no more, I will be asking you to vote upon key concepts regarding the outcome of our thoughts, yes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's all kick back and be as vulgar and uncivilized as is legally possible, yes. So please, kick off your boots, loosen your corsets, and enjoy yourselves, yes. And to all of you gentlemen who have arrived alone and require companionship up through the final curtain. You need only speak to our stage manager, Mr. James Throttle, whose pleasure it will be to see this.
You need never be lonely again.
I'll get you up later, sir.
Oh, no, look, Jim, he wants fixing up now. Look, his tongue's hanging out. Oh, never mind, he's just got a pink tongue. But please do remember, gentlemen, these sparkling yet vivacious ingenues are not salaried employees. And so please, do contribute generously towards their theatrical studies. And make sure all goods are returned tomorrow morning.
None the worse for wear.
Thank you. And so, by all means, let us continue with this evening's bill of fare. I give you, for the first time ever, the completed musical rendition of The Mystery
of Edwin Drood.
Cloisterham, the ancient mouldering cathedral city of Cloisterham. Not a particularly encouraging setting for the Christmas season now upon us. as the wintry air goes through the great elms, they shed a gush of tears. We now arrive in the home of Mr. John Jasper, choir master of Cloisterham Cathedral. Choir master, composer, organist, and gifted vocalist himself, Mr. John Jasper has a voice the angels themselves might envy. And who better to essay the role, ladies and gentlemen, than that gifted vocalist himself, Mr. Clive Paget! John Jasper now waits eagerly for his nephew and title character for this evening's diversion, Edwin Drood.
Hello, Uncle!
Oh, why, there's the lad now.
My dear Uncle.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. Devotees of male impersonation are more used to seeing Miss Alice Nutting in a top hat and tails, doing her inimitable rendition of "Aren't I head off?" But this evening, she hides her distinctive form beneath the garb of young Edwin Drood. Yes, a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's guest artiste and London's leading male impersonator, Miss Alice Nutting!
Any dinner, Uncle?
You forget, Ned, that the words uncle and nephew are prohibited here by express agreement.
Of course, you're right, John. Why, we do only have half a dozen years or so between our ages. Thank you very much. Don't drink yet, Jack. I must propose a toast.
A toast to what, Ned?
He asks to what? To Rosa. Yes, to the fair Miss Rosa Budd. Surely you've not forgotten that Rosa and I are soon to be married?
It has not quite slipped my mind.
Yes. A tedious ceremony in your creaking cathedral, John, and then I'm off with my wonderfully pretty bride to dusty Egypt, where I intend to shake things up a little.
Is it certain, then? Egypt seems a desperate great distance.
Indeed it is, John. You know, this portrait is not one of my better efforts, and yet you choose to hang it here. In heaven's name, why?
Because it reminds me of you, Ned, and the happiness I wish you and Rosa.
Yes, I'm sure we'll be very happy, although our courtship suffers from an unavoidable flatness. Owing to the fact that my dead and gone father and her dead and gone father had as good as married us at birth. Why the devil couldn't they have left us alone?
Tut, tut, dear boy.
Oh, yes, tut, tut. It's all very well for you, John. You have the freedom to love whomsoever you choose.
Don't stop, dear fellow. Do go on.
Have I hurt your feelings, John?
Why, whatever could you have said to hurt my feelings?
Great heavens, Jack! You look frightfully ill. There's a strange film come over your eyes.
I have been taking medicine for a pain and agony that overcomes me. Fear not, the effects will soon be gone.
My dear uncle.
And take it as a warning, Ned. And Ned, Edwin, this is a confidence between us.
Oh, it shall be sacredly preserved, John.
I have confided in you
Because we are fast friends, and because you love and trust me as I love and trust you. Both hands, John. Right. My dearest Uncle Jack.
my dearest nephew, Ned.
A life without your friendship would be life as good as
The
dead.
winds of hell may blow, as you well may know, or heed your God no need too small to face the fires below. For you, 'tis true,
Two kinsmen more than brothers, we know no next of kin, and yet we know no others personally the skin. The blood that flows between us, the bonds that tie us twain. Two kinsmen more honestly than we remain.
my dearest nephew, Ned.
My dearest Uncle Jack, if men say words against you, I shall make them take them back. And neither lad and I would be more glad to die if by my death one extra breath of life for you I'd buy. 'Tis true, for you. Two kinsmen more than brothers, we know no next of kin, and yet we know
trust the moderation of your applause merely means you're conserving your energies for the final curtain. But to continue our story, Edwin Drood is visiting Cloisterham to offer his regards to the fair Miss Rosa Butt, who, like Edwin Drood, is an orphan. Rosa resides in Cloisterham's most respectable seminary for young ladies, correctly, if not aptly named, the Nuns' House. And who better to play the part of Miss Rosa Butt this evening than that most delicate of English roses, that blossoming bud who has even yet to be plucked, the unspeakably lovely Miss Deirdre Berkeley.
I only pray that I may say these words on each of your birthdays.
Well, I fear that is not likely, since, as you know, your own nephew Edwin and I will be departing for Egypt once we are married.
It was only a wish, Rosa. How lovely you look. I've awaited your birthday with eagerness.
Eagerness, Mr. Jasper.
Yes, your voice will no longer be subject to the fluctuations of adolescence. And in what condition is your voice today, my dearest student?
Well, as my tutor, perhaps that question shall be best answered by you, Mr. Jasper. Shall I sing the Mozart?
No. I've composed a song, especially for you, my lovely subject, on the occasion of your birthday. A choir master's pay being what it is. My life's blood is the most I can afford to offer.
Mr. Jasper, I cannot sing this. It would not be proper.
Why, whatever can you mean?
I am not worthy of it.
As your music master, that should be my decision. From the beginning, if you please.
Between the very dead of night and day, upon a steely sheet of light, I lay, and in the moonfall I'll give myself
words, you must make me feel them from the beginning, if you please.
Between the very dead of night and day, upon us stealing, I can't bear this, take her away.
It's nothing. It's all over. Don't speak to her for a minute and she'll be well.
She's not used to an audience. Besides, Mr. Jasper, you are such a conscientious master that I believe you make her afraid of you. No wonder.
No wonder.
Why, you'd be afraid of him under similar circumstances. Would you not, Miss Landless?
Not under any circumstances.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the unpredictable Miss Janet Conover.
Good evening, Reverend Chris Barton. Good evening, Mr. Jasper. Allow me to introduce young Neville Landless. He and his twin sister Helena have just arrived from Ceylon, and they no longer have any family. Neville has been entrusted to my care, and Helena will be staying here at the nun's house. Welcome to Cloisterham, Mr. Landless. I'm afraid young Neville has been handed over to me to calm his rather hot-tempered nature, and to help him make a new beginning here in Cloisterham.
You and your sister lost your parents recently, Mr. Landless.
Their mother died when they were quite young. Now their stepfather has crossed over as well.
I'm most sorry.
There is no need for you bright gentlemen to console me. As it happens, it was very well my stepfather died when he did, or I might have killed him.
As a member of our company, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Victor Greenstead.
I surprise you.
You shock me. Unspeakably shock me.
You never saw him beat my sister. My stepfather was a brute, Mr. Jasper, and in desperation, Helena tried on more than one occasion to flee his cruel and miserly hand, even disguising herself as a boy. But to no avail. As for myself, I have had, from my earliest remembrances, to subdue a deadly and bitter hatred, which has made me secret and revengeful. I say, however, sir, your kindness and goodwill has deeply moved me. I vow to change my ill-tempered ways and break new ground for myself here at Cloisterham.
There's the lad. He'll soon blend in, Mr. Jasper.
Your pupil, Mr. Jasper. She sings beautifully.
Thank you.
Your efforts have not been without success.
I trust so, Mr. Landless.
And may I inquire if your relationship extends beyond that of pupil and master?
Why, heavens no, Neville. Miss Budd is betrothed to young Edwin Drood, Mr. Jasper's nephew.
You do best to cast your eyes and interests in other directions, sir.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Oh, no pardon is necessary. However, I must be off. Choir practice, I fear. I wish you well in your new life, Mr. Landless.
Thank you, Mr. Jasper. I pray we shall meet again. And I should like to meet this Drood. See what sort of man is worthy of the affection of Miss Budd.
Steady, lad. Steady.
This place is very unfamiliar to me. You'll be my friend, won't you?
I will be as good a friend as a might have making me to such a womanly and handsome creature as you.
Who is Mr. Jasper?
My Edwin's uncle and my music.
Master. You know that he loves you?
Don't, he terrifies me. I feel I'm never safe from him. He's made me a slave of his looks and forced me to keep silent without uttering a single threat.
Careful, you are tearing Mr. Jasper's position.
It is of no matter.
I'm sure we'll have at least one reprise of this before we're finished, don't you think? But we now step and travel for reasons which will soon become clear to the wickedest corner, in the wickedest hole, in the fabric of the city of London. Below the street and beneath contempt lies the opium den of the Princess Puffer. Subdialects of prostitution, burglary, violence for profit, and murder. And who reigns supreme over this blemish on England's fair complexion? It is the Princess Puffer, who ministrates to her clients' needs and who hears more than she tells. Portrayed this evening by the grand dame of the Music Hall Royale, the Queen Mother of the Red Light District, that good woman of ill repute, your very own and beloved, Miss Angela Bryson.
Crime don't pay. That's what I tell some. If it did, would I be here? Mixing pipes, what did I sell some? For a pint of rotten beer. Throats you cut, to bucket thrubbins, or you slut, to cop some sleep. Bash your face for bleeding tuppence. Pure disgrace to work so cheap. So I say, don't be a sinner for the price of London gin. You can't pay for one square dinner with the wages of sin. Will you sell me soul? Call a locomotive who would buy the sack of skin. On the whole, there ain't much profit in the wages of sin. In the wages of sin. In the wages of sin. La la, fancy seeing you 2 nights in a row, eh? What little slice of crumpet you've been buttering up instead of me? What little raspberry tart? Oh, pardon me, miss, yes. First night out on the town with him, then, is it? Well, I've had him on numerous occasions, and let me assure you, whatever he's got in store for you, have him show you the money first. What do they pay you, love, by the note? Oh, I love it. Did you miss me? I've seen girls from gutter families trap rich men with fluttery ways, and they call past the jam, please, over nuptial breakfast trays. Over there, in bed 11, sleeps a bleeding hypocrite. Spent his days, arms cast to heaven. Spent most nights among the shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't know what. Just popped right out of my mouth. I promise it will never, ever happen again. Where was I? Shit. So I say, don't take half measures. Do things right and dig right in. In this world, there's greater treasures than the wages of sin. of sin, please, thank you.
With the wages of sin.
Bloody hell, you can do better than that, and get off your bums and give us the notes, then, please, everyone. Now.
The meanest room in London, and as the light of day steals into the room, would not the parishioners of Cloisterham be astounded to discover, in bed 11, the goodly choir master of Cloisterham Cathedral, Mr. John Jasper?
Quickly, woman, I need more laudanum wine. My task is only half finished, and your medicine is less potent than usual.
Oh, Lord, no. So you're mixing opium with wine these days. I'll fix it for you now.
Yes. Before I get to the change of colors and great landscapes, I must be rid of him. Him.
But lucky, there's no one there.
There he is. There I am.
You just lie still and have yourself a pleasant journey, eh? What did you say? Did you say Rosa Butt?
I can't seem to recall what I said. Could you direct me to the nearest railway station? I seem to be lost.
5 and threepence shows me.
That's a large sum for a small courtesy. However, if you are that needy. And the railway station.
Nearest is in Aldgate, 10 minutes of a walk away from the river.
Aye, thank you.
Incredible.
Who are you then? What are you?
I wonder how many of you caught that meaningful statement that sounded suspiciously like a clue to me. Yes, might we have it again, my dear?
What?
Yes, once again, please.
Who are you then? And what are you?
What indeed? But we now return to our less sordid surroundings the next day. Yes, and we meet Cloisterham's leading citizen, Mayor Thomas
Sapsea. Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsea.
Really? With a sack of what? Well, that's unacceptable, isn't it? You'll notice you always get saddled with it. Ladies and gentlemen, your kind indulgence for a short announcement. The part of Mayor Thomas Sapsea will not, I repeat, will not be played by Mr. James Hitchens, as is stated in your program. Yes. For as many of you already know, Mr. Hitchens tends to appear more frequently at the bar in the back than up here in front of the footlights. It will come as no surprise to you regulars that Mr. Hitchens is once again massively indisposed, yes. Due to the injuries he received while fighting for a lady's honor. Apparently, the lady wished to keep him. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, his part will be played by your own humble chair. Yes, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I do refer to myself, Mr. William Cartwright. I do pray this last minute substitution meets with your approval. Yes, please applause for me. Yes. And might I add, it's more your luck than mine, so descend.
Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsea.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Crisper.
These are my new charges from Ceylon. I'm bringing them to meet. And there he comes now. Neville, Helena, allow me to introduce young Edwin Drood.
Sir?
Sir, I congratulate you on your good fortune.
Good fortune, sir.
Your betrothal, Mr. Drood.
Oh, yes, Rosa.
Our young Ned is soon to depart himself to your segment of the globe, Neville.
Ceylon, Mr. Drood?
Oh, no, but much the same. Egypt.
Oh, to make your good fortune, sir.
Why, no, to ensure that Egypt has one. You see, I shall shortly be taking over my family's engineering concern there, where I intend to pull off a miracle.
Pray, what a miracle.
Why, the Cairo Transverse, Mr. Landless, a thoroughfare for commerce and coach travel across the desert to Alexandria.
A monumental task, Mr. Drood.
Indeed.
One wonders from where one might obtain, for example, the paving stones.
Oh, why, from the pyramids, of course.
No!
Why, yes, my studies show that there is enough rock in the top half of the Great Pyramid alone.
This is English blasphemy! It is not enough that you take our delicate brewed tea leaves and likewise improve it by pouring
Neville! Let us not raise our voices here in Cloister and High Street.
I meant no offense, sir.
And I did not mean my awkward ways to arouse such emotion, or to ruffle your splendid feathers, Miss White.
I'm sure Mr. Landless only feels passionately about his part of the world, Edwin.
Yes, so long as he keeps his passions in check.
I'm afraid I have not yet adapted myself to your restrained climate, Master Edwin, Miss Bud.
My uncle's given me some account of your hot-blooded temperamental parts, sir. I hope you've left them far behind you.
My reputation precedes me here. A situation I needs must fear. What hope have I of blending in with so much left to win? I thought I'd cleaned my slate at last, but they anticipate my past.
What do I show them? The full effects.
What do I owe them? What they expect? A British subject on display, and from Ceylon today. Our emigration to this location has brought our station down a mile. This destination divides creation in rank and file, and English are they, and British am I.
British are they, and English am I. There are two subjects we don't discuss.
One is our monarch, the other's us.
And yet I hear you simile the subject of scrutiny.
A British subject nonetheless.
Where
down or Burma, what's all the fuss? All terra firma belongs to us.
A British subject bred and born, a subject not to scorn. Our emigration, dislocation, has brought our stations down a mile. This destination, divide creation, in rank and file and English are they, and British am I. In our emigration, our dislocation has brought our stations upon this town again. This destination, divide creation, in rank and file and English are they, and British am I. This is the way we'll stay. Till we die. Till we die.
You see, Miss Sapsea, it's just as I've been telling you. There's an indistinct rivalry between my own dear boy and this Landless fellow. I fear he's full-blooded Eastern temperament.
I think you exaggerate the matter, Mr. Jasper.
I will go mad. Do you not realize there's more than one face, one side to all things in nature? Beneath Neville's tainted English accent and adopted English manners is a heathen of Landless, a tribal romance, a half-blood, half-bred, half-caste who would kill as easily as he would comb his sleek hair.
But, Mr. Jasper, you must admit, this is quite extraordinary.
On the contrary, nothing could be more ordinary, sir! I, myself, suffer from this sort of duality on occasion. Sometimes I will forget things, and in going back to fetch them, I half expect to meet myself rounding a corner. I've already turned.
And what about me having to be your chairman and the Sapsea bloke at the same time? Well, it's damned confusing, yes.
Yes. I am not myself these days, for all I know. I might be you, there's more than room enough to do inside my mind.
I am likewise in a haze of who I am from scene to scene. What more we do before I mean and in our mind?
Or is it time?
If I'm here and if I'm here, each one of us might not agree on what to do.
And if I take imposing side to think myself, the moon abides of what is right or wrong.
I'll go along with you. Twice had to applaud and putting up dancing and currency for to find the simple side of the coin. What was your uncle from pennies to guineas, the two-sided news, the rule of exception, and would you not go by the rule of deception to find the simple side of the coin? It's odds or even,
It's or tails,
it's high or low,
black or white,
it's up or down,
left or right,
or night or day. Nature seldom ever fails to most obligingly provide an underclothes composing side to one's dismay.
the shadows in the shining ball.
If there's a rose, if there's a thorn,
Good is dead as soon as born.
and yet we smile, but yet love's diversion is perverse.
It seems to work in reverse.
These things are better now than we were in just a while. Penny, one penny, twopenny, threepenny, twelve, two shilling, twice that to a floor, and then would you not fancy the currency round the balance, the principal side of the coin? What was your uncle from pennies to guineas, the two-sided niches, the rule of exception, and would you not go by the rule of deception and balance the principal sides of the coin?
The penny, one penny, twopenny, threepenny, twelve,
La la la, I shall keep my eyes fixed upon this Landless fellow, yes.
A brilliant and original idea, Miss Sapsea. I must be off. I need to shave.
Good day, sir. Bye-bye.
But we now step out from Cloisterham High Street and fall in step with a relic that can only be known to Cloisterham as Durdles. A man whose knowledge of the cathedral tombs is only surpassed by his capacity for wine and spirits. He is now wending his way toward an important assignation. Yes.
What's that you say, Bill?
I said assignation. A with Mayor Sapsea. Well, it's just around behind.
And what's that you say, Bill?
I said around behind.
And so have you!
I did not come here to be insulted, you know.
Oh, why? Where do you usually go?
I'm not a complete fool, you know.
Oh, which bit's missing?
You're next to an idiot.
It's nice to meet you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the clown prince of the Music Hall Royale, saying the role of Durdles this evening, and your friend, not mine. I give you, and I don't want him back, Mr. Nick Cricker.
Assisted, dear friends, by my own lad, young Nick Cricker II.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsea, sir. Oh, good afternoon, Durdles. Excuse the cough, your lordship. This needs a touch of rheumatism. No, I think you mean rheumatism. No, sir, I just finished working on your dead wife's grave. Please refer to the late Mrs. Thomas Sapsea as just that. The late Mrs. Thomas Sapsea. Yes, that is how I like to speak of her. Yes, that is how I like to think of her. But is my dead wife's tomb ready? Well, yes, the door's all ready for my inscribing, sir. She'll be much happier once we've moved her from her more temporary grave. Oh, it's not been all that damp, so the moles won't have been able to get at her yet, but the worms. There's nothing you can do about the worms. They've already made a meal of us. Yes, that's quite enough, Mr. Durdles. And who is this thing with you? This boy? Oh, it's my protege. It's quite the name of the deputy.
I put the lock on your wife's crypt myself, your lordship.
Yes, and I have the keys right here. It's been my pleasure to unlock the tomb and slide your woman in there tomorrow. There's room enough for the entire royal family to have afternoon tea. Yes, Durdles. That crypt is a national treasure. If I may make so bold, Mr. Jasper wanted me to take him down into the crypt to see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might like to add that to your list of suspicious statements. Yes, write them down now.
Oh, steady on, Bill. We don't want these people jumping to conclusions without all the evidence at hand. Otherwise, they might be off to the races!
Right! Let's have a chorus of off to the races!
That's not scheduled until later in the program. We mustn't break the dramatic momentum we're building here. For now.
Off to the races!
Oh, shut up! But now, ladies and gentlemen, we must now descend into the darkness in hopes of shedding a new light upon our curious story, yes. So now, we follow both Durdles and Deputy into the graveyard of Cloisterham.
Jasper.
What? Have you been watching me? You cunning devil! I'll have the blood of you! There. That'll serve you.
You murdered him!
What?
Murder! Murder!
Oh, stop talking such lunacy, Durdles. Help me revive the dear boy. I only pray that... Oh!
There, you bastard! And next time I'll stone your eyes out. So help me!
Quiet, you young wretch!
Why do you assault me in this way, deputy?
You're right for the asylum, Mr. Jasper.
Peculiar lad.
Blame it on his infectious youth, sir. But though that was excellent wine you gave me, more potent than I'm accustomed. Did you get a look inside Miss Sapsea's tomb while I was asleep?
No. I seem to have gotten lost.
I too was lost in a fitful dream. I imagined somebody had touched me and taken something from me. And here's what it was! Me and Sapsea were like me leaving the Muslim gaze line around in front of his wife's crypt. He gave me strict instructions that the keys were, well, and now the key to Miss Sapsea's tomb is missing. What do you think, Mr. Jasper?
I think it's Christmas Eve, and I have guests due for Christmas dinner any moment, and I, a poor host, not to offer them the comfort and joy of the season. Oh, and a Merry Christmas to you, Durdles.
God rest ye merry, Mr. John Jasper.
Yes, we've spent many a bright and chatting afternoon here among these silent tombs. Amen and betrothed. You know, Rosa, we are not legally bound to marriage.
Then, Eddie dearest, let us remain brother and sister from this day forward.
Never to be husband and wife?
Never.
Oh, I am honor bound to confess that this thought does not originate with you alone, Rosa.
No, dear one, you have not been truly happy with our engagement. Nor have I.
I am sorry, Rosa.
I for you. For
If only our marriage had not been assured since birth, perhaps then we would I fear there is a storm brewing.
What a bizarre climate you have here in Cloister House. First the snow, and now this threatening storm. The gods must be angry.
God must be angry, Neville, not gods. We use the singular in England.
What a storm for Christmas Eve.
Yes, it was like this the night Rosa's mother died.
Neville tells me you were once engaged to Rosa's mother, Mr. Crisparkle.
Yes, but I'm afraid I was a bit too Anglican, a bit too angular for her taste. And then, at a seaside party celebrating her 2nd anniversary, only a few months after Rosa was born, she apparently slipped while walking unobserved along the cliffside and drowned in the embrace of the ungrateful waves. But enough. Let us follow Mr. Jasper's lead and forget our grievances with life and with each other over a sturdy Christmas dinner.
I pray you will forgive me the meager merits of my humble thing.
Oh, so sorry we're late, but we fought the storm all the way here.
Miss Bud, it is wonderful to see you again. Let me take your things.
I had no idea that you'd taken on domestic staff, Uncle.
Mr. Landless will take you seriously.
No fear of that.
Now that Rosa, you've no idea what it means.
Miss Bud, how is it that in the season of holly, you remind me of the flowering hibiscus?
And how is it that you remind me of an inconsistent baker, Neville? For while your metaphors seem quite stale, your manners are uncommonly fresh.
Go too far, sir! Gentlemen, this is Christmas Eve, and I will tolerate no further unchristian-like behavior between you two. Now, this mulled wine is very good stuff indeed. I prepared it especially for you from a recipe I have taken on a recent trip to London.
Well, any port in a storm for me, Uncle.
Oh, any port in a storm. Very good, Edwin, very good.
Thank you.
And none for me, thank you.
Now, let us drink deep.
This wine is more potent than usual, Jack.
Well, I thought you lads would like it. Now, let's have no more ill will between you two.
Please, Edwin. There is no more cause for rivalry between us, Neville. You have my friendship, if you wish it.
Then a Merry Christmas to you,
The goose is cooked.
Miss Bud, I think your next Christmas dinner shall be in Egypt.
Oh, why, Landless? Perhaps you should accompany us to Cairo. I'm sure Rosa and I could use someone to carry our bags. What? You know, someone more acquainted with the foreign tongue than he is with minding his own.
Gentlemen, ladies, please be seated.
Sir, I don't much like your tone. That suit was hideous. Here you wear a finer cut than mine, but a waistcoat one can soon be torn away like you should be. Your blood so blue.
Something in this speech seems ominous to me. Don't tolerate brave promises for me.
Praise to him divine, for this we should be glad.
Won't you try some wine?
No good can come from bad.
My dear
are we, when oh so many stars, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. One of you will guard.
Axes cut and later, and with daggers drawn, I glare at you, stare at you, my lady, my wife, and share my life. I see you begging for sweet Rosa.
Sweet, sweet Samir, I feel it, I fear it. We are friends, and yet they'll not soon forget the great Devil's threat, every appetite.
In younger days I hungered for another, Rosa's mother. After Rosa's birth she left this earth, now dust is all I'm worth.
So long in time I thought that I was rested, no, quite naive, but I perceive these voices, noise, more torture than they might conceive.
I hungered for another, Rosa's mother.
Visions there may be revealed, murderous ambitions otherwise concealed. Fire you I curse, full warning you have had.
That was the words.
No good can come from that, no good can come from that.
Why, what a storm for Christmas Eve! I must go down to the river weir to see this fit of nature unchecked. Will you excuse me?
Of course, I will join you on your walk.
I'm afraid we must rise and uncast before the storm will behind it, my dear. Everyone,
Rosa,
be careful how you tread, Neville.
Well, I shall see the ladies safely home.
Will you join us, Uncle?
No, Edwin. I have plans I must execute. But I will not let you go with that flimsy coat. You shall take my own humble but serviceable coat.
come, Edwin, your destiny calls.
Then goodbye, Uncle. Goodbye, all.
If ever. Well, it is now late the next day, the following day, Christmas Day to be sure. And though the storm has passed, there is to be no found trace of young Edwin Drood.
Mr. Crisparkle! Mr. Crisparkle, I fear something terrible has happened to Edwin.
Let us wait until my assistant Basil reports. You have heard the sentiment voiced, I am sure, that no news is certainly good news. Ah, and there he comes now. Basil, what news?
No news.
There, you see? I'm afraid you haven't met my assistant Basil. His chief occupation is in guiding excursion parties to our cathedral. Quite the showman is our Basil. It's tragically misplaced.
Misplaced.
Yes, Mr. Basil carries with him a secret. Now, Rosa, what is it do you believe that Mr. Basil has done?
Oh dear, nothing dreadful, I hope.
He has written a play! A tragedy!
The thorn of anxiety.
When will it be performed, Mr. Basil?
Never.
Sometimes I believe that Mr. Basil takes more pride in its lack of support, like a citizen of Greece who prefers the Parthenon in ruin. But I do hope to see Mr. Basil's work performed someday.
I do, Mr. Basil.
I love the theatrical world, but there are many stages beyond the proscenium. I long to play a larger part.
Well then, Mr. Basil, let us use your enviable creativity to find some accounting for our young men.
That assignment I eagerly accept.
Oh, my dear, hopeless Edwin!
How like her mother she looks. Had the Lord seen it fit to smile upon me, had her mother not married another, nor died 2 years later at that pleasure party by the sea, I might have been Rosa's.
Father, give me your hand.
Rise, my child. The cathedral bell summons us.
And is it not significant, Mayor Sapsea, that never Landless was last seen fleeing the district?
Yes, you've convinced me, Mr. Jasper. A secret murderer could indeed be hiding in Cloisterham's affectionate bosom. Yes.
Oh, good evening, Madame.
Yes, all signs do point to Mr. Neville Landless, yes.
My thoughts exactly, sir.
Yes, I shall instruct a few strong gentlemen to apprehend him by whatever force is necessary, so that we may question him. Yes.
You do that, sir.
I will.
We'll find that devil Landless right enough now.
And when we find him, we'll execute that murderous swan.
Right, with any luck, we'll have a hanging for Christmas.
Fetch the dogs!
Mr.
Have you seen the Landless?
Have you seen the Landless? It's not way out.
You haven't seen it? Are you never Landless? Have you seen it? You now help.
Mr. Jasper! Mr. Jasper! Look what I've discovered! Why, it's my coat. The one I gave to Edwin last night. He's been torn to ribbons. And blood. Oh God, there is his blood on it. Where did you find this?
Under a rock by the River Weir.
My dear boy has been murdered. I take this oath before you, Basil, record it in your memory, that I shall fasten the crime of the murder upon the murderer and devote myself to his destruction.
I shall remember your words, Mr. John Jasper!
I think that's it for you tonight, Philip.
That's right, Bill.
Ah, yes. It hardly even seems you're worth coming down from Knutsford each night, does it? You seem to specialize in these narrow parts of late.
Not by choice, Mr. Cartwright.
Ah, yes. But I do recall, in Julius Caesar, you played the part.
Senator?
Ah, so at least you are in for the kill. Come to think of it, it's rather strange that Charles Dickens created your character at all. Unless he had something greater in mind for you.
That's been my solace in the role, Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, I'm sure. However, I do recall you understudying Mr. Clive Paget as Mr. John Jasper. I know, surely one of those days.
In actuality, Mr. Paget claims never to have missed a performance in his entire career.
Well, come to think of it, Philip, we're almost finished with this act. And our second act is considerably shorter than the first. Would you have a song at hand? Shall we?
I do have, in performance of my role this evening, aspirations as an author, and have composed it a brief song which I venture to say underscores the dilemma I share with the character Basil portrayed. I hesitate.
Yeah, come. Its title, Mr. Bax.
What? Oh, never the love, Mr. Cartwright.
Ladies and gentlemen, an unscheduled diversion in our journey this evening. Yes, the debut performance of an unpublished and perhaps rightfully unheard composition. Mr. Philip Bax singing his very own Never the Luck.
I'll have my night someday. Still, each precious part seems over and done before I begun to speak. I cast out my line and keep my hand in, but I'll not stand in this week. Some starless night, they'll call towards the winds, who hear dances and sings. That's when yours truly springs, and seeing then cry. Why, he knows each line and everyone's cue. We must let him do the part. I'll center stage, the music will play. I'll lost my way into your heart.
ever I plan, and ever I plot, with ever the plug to try. I wait for my star, by fate to be struck, but never the luck have I. And never seen, but never dream have I.
And you fellows, enough! Enough now!
There's your murderer, sir.
Reverend Chris Marshall, what have I done?
You have done nothing, I'm certain. I'm sure this.
Never Landless. Where is Edwin Drood?
What is... Why do you ask me that way?
Because you were the last person seen in his company. Now he is nowhere to be found.
Mayor Sapsea, do you wish to question him?
Yes. Mr. At what time did you leave the river with Edwin Drood?
In all honesty, I cannot recall anything of what transpired once Edwin and I reached the river.
And these bloodstains upon your shirt front, upon your walking stick, Mr. Landless.
I acquired these bloodstains, sir, just now, when these men of yours forcibly dragged me back from the countryside where I had been walking.
Never Landless, as acting constable of the district, I place you under arrest.
Never!
Calm down.
How many of them did it take to murder you in this way?
8.
You have an interesting way with the law here in Cloisterham, Mr. Sapsea. And you, Mr. Durdles. 4 days now you have been warning all of Cloisterham of impending violence between your nephew and my brother. What do you know of all this?
Only that my nephew is dead.
Mayor Sapsea, I warrant that young Neville has no knowledge of Edwin Drood beyond that which he has freely volunteered.
And you shall volunteer nothing further, Neville.
Might I remind you, and your brother, that we still have the issue of murder at hand?
Before you utter that word again, you laughable man. Perhaps you'll be good enough to supply a body, a victim, a corpse, something more tangible than an errant nephew, a timorous uncle, and a ludicrous city official who has no backing for his charges beyond pure pomp and sheer circumstance.
Hear, hear!
Well said, Helena!
She is right, you know, Mayor Sapsea. Without Edwin's body, you cannot possibly hope to arrest Neville.
Yes, very well then, release him.
Oh, bless you, Mr. Criswell.
I am overpaid.
I only wish I could express my gratitude without this strange, somewhat geographically untraceable accent.
Yes. Let's pause for a moment, shall we?
All right.
And let us find where our matters now lie. Edwin Drood has vanished, and may likely be climbed.
Dead. John Jasper has sworn vengeance upon his nephew's murderer.
Whom most of this populace suspects to be Neville Landless.
But the charges against Neville are rescinded thanks to Helena Landless' steely resolve and the support of the kind lady.
Reverend Mr. Crisparkle, who was once engaged to
Rosa's deceased mother, though it's difficult to know what one should make of.
The drunken stonemason Durdles and his apprentice deputies, not to mention...
The mysteriously motivated purveyor of opium, the Princess Puffer.
Yes, all statements to consider during the interval with one admonition, that you not leap to conclusions without all of the relevant information. Or you could find yourselves carried off to the races.
Yes, Bill, let's have a chorus of off to the races!
What a spontaneous request! For what night at the Music Hall Royale would be incomplete without a rendition of its trademark anthem? Quick conclusions often lead the best of us astray. The wisest move in life is just to wait. Otherwise your galloping emotions run away like horses at the gate. Off to the races, off to the races, off to the race we go. And what the trace is, and what the pace is, we seldom seem to know.
Men with broken hearts about to never more pursue a member of the soft and saving race.
Saving race?
only suddenly will view
a fair and favored place. Then off to the races, off to the races, with dirty faces go. His saving graces, strong ringer places, his need for love and all.
Don't fall back on your assumptions, hasty presumptions, might humiliate. Climb the track like a nag running blind, try lagging behind, you'll find you'll win.
Bless our Queen Victoria, she's had 9 kids to date. You wonder how Prince Albert got imposed. Probably by her decree he had to procreate. Said she, make me amused.
Off to the races, the royal races, the same as dwarfs do.
When she embraces her royal graces, the same and wants as you.
Before we solve this Dickens our crime. Sometimes having patience is as good as having grace, so take your bloody time. Pour out the spirits, the end is nearest, only a length or so. Don't begin to build your tower for the finishes and pour up to the races. Up to the race we go.
My dear friends, don't worry about being the last. Madame, it only means we're only looking at you. Seats now. I will not begin until you are sitting. Yes, baby. By and by, I trust you managed to find our laboratorial facilities this evening, which are second to none in the district. Yes. There are none in the district. Incidentally, if you are enjoying our modest efforts this evening, I heartily recommend you return to this venue next week, when we will premiere the Musical Royale's most ingenious and latest work, Hamlet, Part 2. But before we take those tangled threads of our story left dangling before the interval and attempt to tie them all together again, let us, as has always been a custom here at the Music Hall Royale, unite in that sturdy chorus in the hymn to our beloved yet enduring land. England reigns.
Over all domains, England reigns, England reigns.
And it seems like it rains every day.
Over heath and hill, evermore may it still.
And it will if I have my say.
British sons never set and they burn.
We are, I trusted, rested, relaxed, restored. How dare you waddle your way in here? I gave you an interval, 10 whole minutes. And now you return. Everyone admonish her. Boo! Right. We are, I trust, rested, relaxed, restored, and renewed, some of us more than others. And ready to begin this evening. Yes. I give you the mystery
of Edwin Drood.
6 months have passed. An English summer is now in progress. And, though it has been 6 months, there is to be found no trace of young Edwin Drood. All the Cloisterham is agog with rumor and suspicion. But there are inquiring developments. Yes, 2 new inquiring sleuths are about to appear on the scene. Yes, one being the Princess Buffer, whom you have already met. The other being a detective, a man of mystery, in a bulky coat and a fulsome beard, and the name of Dick Datchery.
Aye.
I said Dick Datchery.
Right.
Yes, right. And these apparent strangers now arrive with grand intentions and great expectations, which, might I add, we will be premiering in Brighton next season, so please get your tickets now, yes? And so now, just like us, they will be arriving at Cloisterham Station. Many injurious souls of Cloisterham, none are more intently curious than these 2.
On the track of a man in black, he disappeared before the smoke cleared.
I want the scent of our resident. I'll check them well, inspect the purse on well. I'm led upon a doubtful chase.
Who's dead or gone without a trace? In the ceiling of the earth, through which heaven's light could be seen, or something along those lines. I only wish that my assistant Bazzer, who is away on business this evening, could see such a night as this.
not yet seen before. Welcome, Cloister Ham Captain. I'm in way of the official greeter of anyone who might have a price of wine on them. My name is Durdles.
And I am Datchery. Dick Datchery. I was wondering if lodgings could be found in these parts.
Oh, no doubt, Mr. Datchery.
Oh, something architectural and out of the way. Something inconvenient.
Well, there are a number of inconvenient lodgings here in Cloister Ham Captain.
Oh, and close to the cathedral as well.
I don't mean to overstep, but the only lodgings that I know of along those lines are the rooms above Mr. John Jasper. Yes, he is a great admirer
Is that
of
that
the
fellow who's been much afflicted by the loss of his nephew, Edwin Drood?
Wait on, boy. This much afflicted fellow, John Jasper, is he always dressed in mourning these days?
That's the man. You won't catch me going near him again.
Wait, why is that, boy?
So I'm going to be lifted off my legs and shout again.
Well, I find that most interesting. I shall enjoy watching the comings and goings of this town.
That man should see his tailor.
Oh, hey, miss, do you know where I can find a Mr. John?
Are you ill?
No, miss. I always look this way.
Rosa! We have both been guilty of neglecting your music lesson. When shall we resume?
Never, sir.
Am I being politely told you've chosen to abandon your studies altogether?
The politeness is yours, not mine. I beg not to be questioned anymore. I will not answer. At least I have that in my power.
Rosa.
I wish not to hear you, sir.
And not forget how many eyes command a view of us, but you shall hear me, even against your wishes. Dearest Rosa. Darling Rosa. Even when my dear boy was engaged to you, I loved you madly. I hid our secret loyally, did I not?
You were as false to him, sir, daily and hourly as you are now. You know that you made me blind to show his kind eyes to the truth. That you are a bad, bad man!
How beautiful you are! You're more beautiful in anger than in repose. I do not ask for your love. Give me yourself, that pretty rage, that enchanting scorn. That would be enough for me.
You're mad!
I mean to say you are mad! My love is...
Love! You dare use that word.
Love is but a lad stranded here for pastures green, where it rarely set a seed and seldom sown. Innocent enough, it was intended to be used on rare occasions, not abused by every tongue. Rarely has a word been ever taken so in vain, but little meaning might remain is quickly blurred. Never has there been such quite exhausted such a tongue. Your sighs and syllables confirm how great this word. You call it love. I call it rude. I call it lust.
It
I
does.
call it lewd. I think it cruel.
And I the fool.
I cannot bear to call it love. I think it foul.
I see the sky.
I think it blind.
I see the sky.
No more I'll take.
Digital break.
A cunning guile.
not.
No worse than
I
mine.
was a man.
You'll get to see
I speak to me in the name of
love.
love.
Rosebud with a dainty little face, with every curl confirms that she's a child, a girl, and you'll fight. Rosa is the only soul in Cloister Ham, it seems, who senses just so soft a dream to dream at night. Did you think your stare was not my scene? Every fibre of my being told me since I was betrothed. That your most unnatural attention, conscious words I dare not mention, you must know how much I love. To know your wants, to see your thoughts,
I need not clutch.
to hear your voice, to feel your touch.
For me to ask, I only seek the name of love.
I will not fear.
I want to hear
I try to plot.
the angry bite
I have a choice.
of the voice. One blazing night,
I'll not permit
you will
you
surrender
to desecrate.
and speak your faith. The name of love, the name of love, the name of love, the name of love,
The name of love. just overheard something. Yes, and now I have one of the very bits of information I came here for.
Does that mean you're leaving Coinstown already?
Bloody likely. I didn't come this far just to turn back with but one piece of puzzle in my hand. I've never in my wretched life come so close to getting anything I set about after. More fool I be now to turn back just when I'm winning. Never understood those in life who ease up just when they ought to press on. Once I bet my last 10 pence and won. Twice as rich then, friends said, call it done. How sad, I said. So, that's your wildest dream, eh, then? 20 pence instead of 10. Double up my bet again. In life we start the same as when we're done. If you lose, you're just where you've begun. If you've won, don't quit while you're ahead. Just press your blessed luck instead.
Don't try to think what move might be the best. Use the heart that beats within your chest. Never rest.
Don't quit while you're ahead. Sing out, there's more in store for me.
I see my dream ship finally coming in like a steamship, anchoring to wind.
Lift your chin. Remember what I said. Don't quit while you're ahead. Let go.
I know there must be love that's yet to be. Only just 3 weeks away from being home for me.
Don't quit while you're ahead. Worry how you tread. Who cares?
There's a chance, one pipe dream that is mine, a romance, quite ripe upon the vine.
Don't resign.
No victor ever fled. Don't quit while you're ahead. To stay, ta-ra, boom! Banging passion, hooray, hurrah! Boom! Banging passion, la-di-da. Don't quit while you're ahead. Don't say I'm off to bed. Farewell.
Well, I know, don't let the moment go to waste, not with things close enough to taste. Keep the call with all due haste.
For God's own sake, so raise the stakes. You've struck a lucky vein, never break through any lucky chain. The refrain, don't quit while you're ahead, as easily done as said. You'll see, ta-ra-ta-ree. Boom! Banging passion, ooh-la-dee-dee. Boom! Banging passion, ooh-la-dee-dee. Don't quit while you're ahead. Sing out, there's more in store for me. There's much more for me. There's much more for me. At last we see the slightest glimmering of light, quite shimmering in the dim dawn of night. So long have we been blind, but finally we are blind the plot. The truth is this: we
Sadly, ladies and gentlemen, this is where Charles Dickens laid down his pen forever.
All right, good night, everyone.
And so, my dear friends, this is all we'll ever know for sure of the mystery of Edwin Drood. But tonight, within the confines of this humble theatre, we shall do our part to solve, resolve, and conclude the mystery
of Edwin Drood.
One line of the story we can resolve immediately, though it has little to do with the plot at hand. Many literary experts agree that our inquiring detective, Mr. Dick Datchery, is actually someone we have already met. A character from Act 1 who has disguised themselves as Datchery as to better investigate the murder of Edwin Drood. Yes, and as many of you have already guessed, in the part of Miss Dick Datchery this evening, and has taken the role thus far, that master and mistress of male impersonation, Miss Alice Nutting. Edwin Drood is Datchery. No, far from it. The reason for Miss Nutting's portrayal in the role this evening is, well, she was contracted to 2 acts of this play. And here at the Music Hall Royale, we believe in an honest week's work for an honest day's pay. Yes. And so, this brings us to our first key question. Is Edwin Drood dead or alive? Mr. Charles Dickens experimented with many different titles for our story. For example,
The Loss of Edwin Drood, The Flight of Edwin Drood,
The Disappearance of Edwin Drood.
Yes, but nowhere the death or murder of Edwin Drood. On the other hand, many would argue, well, a mystery without a murder. Well, that's no mystery at all. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our questions will be primarily answered by you. However, in a dangerous democratic move, the Music Hall Royale has offered its company the right to vote upon one issue each night. And so, my fellow acolytes of the Thespianic persuasion, your question tonight will be, Mr. Drood.
Is Edwin Drood dead or alive? Miss Alice Nutting, who has vested interest in the outcome of this question, will kindly turn her back to the cast. Thank you. Now, gentlemen, ladies, as your whim takes you this evening, all those who believe Edwin Drood is dead, please raise your hand. Thank you. Now, all those who believe Edwin Drood is alive, please do the same now. Thank you.
Oh, Miss Nutting. Oh, you stumped it by a massive majority, I fear. Which brings us to our next key question, Mr. Rosa.
Who is the detective Dick Datchery?
Yes, but we can now safely eliminate Edwin Drood from consideration, for he has been voted dead by the cast for the rest of the evening.
Dead! Ha! And bloody! Ha ha! You absolute envious little wankers! It's very clear to everyone here that Drood, that I am Datchery, and it is even more transparent that this petty, jealous little cast bitterly resents the attention that I have received in the local press. Goodbye, all!
Oh, no, Miss Nutting, please, leave my hand. You have no idea the week we had with her. First, her dressing room was too small, and then her mustache was too long. I told her she was splitting hairs, but suit yourself! Ladies and gentlemen, I must apologize for this bit of unpleasantry in what, I'm sure you'll agree, has otherwise been a flawless evening. But in all fairness to our cast and to our story, I must strenuously point out that many literary experts disagree with Miss Nutting's contention that Edwin Drood and Dick Datchery are one and the same person. Yes, there are several prime candidates for the role. Yes, I offer you Helena Landless, never revealed of her in Act 1.
In desperation, Helena tried on more than one occasion to flee our father's cruel and miserly hand, even disguising herself as a boy.
Ah, yes. A hit, a palpable hit. But was it a meaningful thrust or a misdirection? Would not Helena be fearful to pursue John Jasper under the given circumstances?
Not under any circumstances.
Aha! And the candidates hardly end there. What say you of Basil?
I love the theatrical world, but there are many stages beyond the proscenium. I long to play a larger part.
Yes. Who more likely to don such melodramatic garb and seek the spotlight? Why otherwise does he appear in our story at all?
From my earliest remembrances, I have been secret and revengeful.
Ah, yes. And who more likely to assume the murder than the one assumed of foul play? Yes, or did someone simply wish to clear Neville's name?
Neville has been entrusted to my care.
Ah, yes. The Reverend Chris Sparkle, whose patience and energies lay hidden beneath his clerical garb. Perhaps he has adopted yet another uniform, that of Datchery, to save the young lad who has been his charge and responsibility. And then there is the puzzling yet intriguing possibility of Rosa.
Stay for us,
Could it be that we have underestimated the resourcefulness of this woman-child? Yes. Could she have investigated the disappearance of Edwin Drood? Well, looks can be deceiving. This, ladies and gentlemen, I do know for sure. Dick Datchery is not John Jasper, the Princess Papa, Durdles' deputy, or even your own Mayor Sapsea. For in our play and in Mr. Dickens' novel, they appear in scenes with him. Yes, they are observed to be in his company. Yes. And so, that leaves us with the following candidates for the role of Dick Datchery. Ah, yes. And let us, as it is done in amateur theatrical productions, vote by a show of applause. Yes, as the handkerchief is placed above the head of each candidate, pray, applaud for your favorite in the part of Dick Datchery. And do remember, ladies and gentlemen, we do have larger decisions yet to come. Yes, soon I will be asking you to vote. Who is the murderer of Edwin Drood? Yes, yes. So please, don't just vote for some distant cousin of yours, for God's sake. Mr. Throttle, if you please.
The underrated Mr. Bassett. All play to sail on, Mr. Neville Landless. The ecstatic ecclesiastic, Reverend Chris Sparkle. The lovely Rosa Bud. And the tempestuous Helena Landless.
I do think it's a tie between our landless siblings. Yes, let's see the votes. Oh.
At least we're not the lovers.
Let us vote once again by show of applause. Who is your favorite in the role of Dick Datchery? Yes, Helena? Yes, yes, I do believe Victor Greenstein. Now, you best make a change of costume. I can see several members of our audience waiting. Yes, and you're the And so, this brings us to a much more serious issue. Yes, this next bit is one of my favorites. Yes. Oh, Miss Alice, don't you think? Come back. I'm seriously just a How dare you!
No, I will ruin your career! If you walk out now, I will end your life!
Her attitude is entirely due to upbringing! Her father and mother were in the iron and steel business. Get it? Mother irons, father steel. You mean you didn't like that? Well, how about this then? She was previously known as an orthopedic soprano. She sang in All the Giants.
All the children, not an
So that's the mood we're in for tonight, okay? Well then, this brings us to a much more serious issue. For now, we must find ourselves a culprit, a fiend, a killer, and in short, the murderer of our dear departed vanished vanquished late lamented title character of this evening's play, Edwin Drood.
Shut up! Oh, shut up!
One more like that, and we'll have you all sent back to the Salvation Army. We'll have you standing in the rain singing, Jesus wants me for a sunbeam. So, ladies and gentlemen, who will be our murderer? The killer. I give you, first, the most obvious candidate for the part of the villain this evening. Mr. Clive Paget is Mr. John Jasper. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, don't you know here at the Music Hall Royale we boo and kiss the villain?
Boo.
No, you're too late now. We're gonna go back and do the whole thing over again. Yes, go back. Oh, no, don't go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do this until you get it right. And if you don't, we're going to have you all stand here in a line and sing 83 choruses of The Church Bell Won't Ring Tonight, because the vicar's got the clapper. We will ruin your evening, yes. Now, here we go. Last chance. I give you the most obvious candidate for the role of the villain. I say his name again. Together, do it with me. I give you the most obvious candidate for the part of the villain this evening, Mr. Clive Paget is Mr. John Jasper. I ask you, is this the face of a murderer? Yes. Well, I ask you, could this be all there is to the mystery of Edwin Drood? That John Jasper did indeed kill his nephew in a hopeless attempt to retain the affection of the fair Miss Rosa Budd? Well, where then the mystery? See? That's taken the wind out of your sails, hasn't it, big mouth? Yes. Where then the mystery? Where then indeed? Yes, so I ask you, how stand you? For the obvious answer? Or for a more perplexing solution? I hear like 3 of you. Obvious answer, perplexing solution. There's 2 answers and you clap for 1, yes. For the obvious answer, no one wants you here. Or for more perplexing solution. Must first remove some of us from the bidding. The young deputy and your own Mayor Sapsea were purely intended for comic relief and do not factor in intimately with the lives of our other characters. Which leaves us with the following candidates for the role of the murderer this evening. Yes.
Helena Landless, did I, in trying to save my brother, bring harm to Miss Edwin Drood?
Bassett, my need for attention has made me quite mad. Someone stop me before I sing again.
Reverend Mr. Crisparkle, have I in some way confused my mission here on Earth?
Durdles, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than give Drood a frontal lobotomy.
Princess Puffer, who am I? Thank you, though. And what am I? Suppose someone as innocent and pure as I really murder my own true Ned?
Yes.
Thank you. John Jasper. I've stood in the cold shade of suspicion since our story began.
Yes, time. Time, ladies and gentlemen, at last to decide. And so, for the sake of accuracy, might we vote by a show of hands? Yes. Let's bring up the house lights and we can begin. Yes. Oh, good Lord! Is that what I've been dealing with tonight? Why don't you all join hands and try contacting the living? No matter. Let us proceed post-haste to the voting. Members of our company are even now circulating along to count your white coats.
Number two. Number two. Number
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be taking the vote for this vote. My name is Christopher Leon, and I am taking the vote. Now, I can get everyone to put up how many fingers they want for which candidate. So, for example, number one, John Jasper, put up one finger if you want to vote for him. So please put up how many fingers you want for each candidate. So you only get one vote, so make sure to make it count, alright?
Number two.
Please put up the amount of fingers.
Alright, sounds good.
Number 5, are you kidding me? How dare you? He's a reverend, he would never kill anyone, or would he?
Thank you guys so much and enjoy the rest of the
Yes, your murderer has been picked for this evening. And so now, as is tradition here at the Music Hall Royale, let us offer a sip of port to him or her that is our chosen fiend for the evening, so that they may know your choice. Yes, very good. And so now, so the following denouement may become as a surprise to all of us. Let us now close our eyes. Yes, pray, close them now.
Close your eyes! You close your eyes! All of you close your eyes! And come up there and lift it for you! Everyone close them! everyone does.
Okay. You! Okay. I am now offering the murderer the port. The murderer is drinking it.
No peeking.
You may open your eyes. Oh, and so you see, you cannot trust anyone here tonight, yes. So, as our cast departs backstage, I only caution you to prepare for some twists and turns as we serpentine towards the conclusion that you have chosen for us tonight, yes. And so, my dear friends, for the first time and at long last, I give you, by your determination, the conclusion, the finale of the finale of the mystery of Edwin Drood.
We love you!
I almost feel like I can kick you out. Ladies and gentlemen, the first chapter of the novel was entitled The Dawn. And perhaps not coincidentally, his final chapter was called The Dawn Again. And so, yes, let us begin our last chapter amid the cold grey tendrils of a dim English night.
Oh, it's bloody freezing again. I am Missy. Can you spare 3 and 6 for a Christian soul in distress?
I'm afraid I've only got about 3 and 6 to get myself to London.
I'm running away from something. Yes, en masse, yes. Rosa.
How on earth did you know my name?
No. I only know you since the day you were born. I bathed you and fed you. Don't look at me, Rosa. I don't want you to see me like this. But can you remember some 12 years ago, your nanny, Rosa? Did you look at me now, my own darling girl, and see your nan instead?
Nan? Somewhere. I was 6 and then you weren't there anymore.
Do you remember? God love you. Never really knew your mother, did you? It's the closest thing to that for you.
So why did you leave me?
It's a sad story, Rosa. And a common one, I fear. I was once young now. Then I met tall dog with golden hair, who's where my end began. Let him have his way with me. He knew his way so well. lodgings in the backs, though I hate to confess, where I watched this man undress, but I saw sudden wise, him without his bold disguise. Though my morals are tilted, my eyesight is level, Dick Datchery is Neville.
I gladly unmasked to wear this coated shoes is too great a task. There lies Dick Datchery, born on a whim. We can dispense with last rites for him. My motive in taking the role of a wicked and white-whiskered soul was to give myself back to this city and track down the culprit with that as my goal. I had also intended to find just what Jasper has had on his mind. Much too eager was he that I'll cloister and see me the murderer. God, are they blind? All of these people suspicious that I had killed Edwin Drood, and with their anger so vicious, I wore this costume so crude, stepping out on a limerick, out on a limerick, out on a limerick, yeah. I found a theatrical kit, and as Datchery I did my bit. 'Twas to clear my good name from the blemish of blame, 'twas for Helena too, I admit. I followed John Jasper high-low, found the dents he descends to below, and when Puffer came here, 'twas immediately clear my suspicions were quite apropos. So I crept in the lodgings of Jasper, thrusting his garment aside. There I found Rosa but clasp her mother she gave to that night. Jasper took it from Ned after hurling him dead, 'twas the wear of a bed, I suppose. Tell him that Datchery knows, and the proof is quite clear. Let us bring Jasper here to be tried and then tied up and strung. And from this limerick, let him be hung.
The venom on his brain, but if he draws upon the pulse in madness, opium smoke supplies. Mine is great surprise. There are two men in me, and cunning right is he, who hides himself, resides himself where I've no eyes to see. But now I think he's at the brink of breaking through the door. I'm in, he's out, I'm out, he's free, I'm me once more. How many times I killed the Drood upon my flights, the blood that burst his mouth was something of his rights. His right to share my roast dead. It took no smoke for me to picture Edwin dead. That night I poured myself a flask of laudanum, and as a toast to Ned and Neville, I drank some. That's when my greatest flight of fancy did take place. I saw my hands outstretched towards Edwin's pale white face. I saw my fingers touching his neck so tightly, touching my sleeve. He felt so light. Just over as it had begun. Such tragedy to finally make the king, and not to awake to taste
you place the coat that young Edwin Drood wore that night down at the river where to throw suspicion on never Landless? You're a bad one, Jasper, when the evil one's inside you, but sure no matter. You didn't kill Edwin Drood.
Durdles, are you telling me that John Jasper did not kill his nephew?
You're right, your lordship, sir. It was a wild night that Christmas Eve, as you'll remember, and I sought shelter near Mr. Jasper's door, when I saw one amongst you throttle Edwin Drood. In a convenient flash of lightning, I saw who it was. And that was quite a long speech, Bill. Do you think I could have a quick nip report? When I see Jasper stagger out of his own home under the influence of potent medicine, when suddenly he collapses, and he gets up and he picks up young Drood, carries him into the cathedral, down into the crypt, depositing the body right in Miss Sapsea's tomb.
What?
See, I told you there's plenty of room in there.
But Durdles, you must tell us, who killed Edwin Drood?
Oh, lovely. It was Princess Puffer!
May God have mercy. Your forgiveness do I need. My string of sins ends here with this most dreadful deed. I only meant to save my Rosa, but it's true. You bastard Jasper Christ, I meant to murder you. Could I see my Rosebud threatened by this man of massive sin? He revealed his vile desires, so I had to do him in. To my endless ruination, I took smoke to see me through. In my sweet hallucination, I saw Drood and thought him evil. So I say to all who hear me, you must plan the murder well. You must see your victim clearly as you send him off to hell. When I killed, 'twas well intended. Drink and smoke's what did me in. For my jaws I'm apprehended. There's the wages of sin. Everyone please. With the wages of sin. Don't you know they hang women these days? This is undoubtedly my last chorus.
Entitled to a happy ending, are we not?
Yes, we are.
Now, we all have need for love in our lives, yes. Or, at this late in the evening, any reasonable facsimile thereof. And so, ladies and gentlemen, who will find that commodity that we all seek? I leave it to you to answer one final question. Who will be our lovers tonight? Yes? And so, let's go my decent side. We have the lovely Miss Rosa Budd, the tempestuous Miss Landless. Yes.
It's easy to mix them up.
Yes, the tempestuous Miss Landless. And so, once again, let us show a vote by applause, yes? The votes for Miss Rosa Budd. well-heeled bachelors, yes.
So,
Once again,
What's that supposed to mean?
Never, Landless.
Was that directed at
The
me?
Reverend Mr. Chris Barker. The specimen that can only be known as Durdles. Mr. Bassett.
John Jasper.
And deputy. And so, once again, by a show of applause, yes, never. The Reverend Mr. Chris Barker. Durdles. Bassett. John Jasper. So I take news as applause. Yes. Once more, John Jasper. And deputy. I do, yes. I do believe the dog was at the stage, yes. I have no idea. So, we now have 4 remaining, yes. Now, Helena, pick one and applaud for only that one, yes? Yeah. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Reverend Mr. Chris Barker. The specimen, Drood. Did we do Bassett? Yes, I think we did. Yes, we did. Deputy. Are you sure we can't get
Deputy and
Okay. My friends, my dear friends, I know it's between Bassett
and Helena.
And I hear Helena.
They're discussing briefly.
Up you go. Come on,
Between Helena and Bassett. Yes. So first, who votes for Bassett? Okay. You can only pick one. Bassett? So those are your lovers this evening. I'm afraid we're stuck with it, I fear. Mr. Wilson, a gentle reprise, if you will. I feel that we are about to have a love song.
I told you I would be as good a friend as a mite of a thing can be to such a womanly and handsome creature.
I'm so sorry I didn't stop Jasper from all those creepy things he did.
If we were
Not yet.
If we were perfect strangers, how strangely met are we?
I find I now adore you.
If only he could speak to us from beyond the grave. What would he tell us? What would he say?
This tomb behind me is where I faced my closest shame. When I struck my head against the street, I was stunned, not stricken. A plot doth thicken, as Jasper flew me off my feet to the crypt. I awoke in